transferring video, so hopefully I do it. And that's your Wednesday night Tech Talk Jazz Hands.
Right?
Yeah, we're at the top of the
Wednesday
hour.
Night Tech Talk, brought to you by WAF Racing. If
WAF
one of the
Racing.
mods wants to put it up there, please, wafracing.com. Go and check them out. They got some cool stuff.
Speaking of that, I got a notification that I got WAF Racing stuff coming.
Oh, that's right. You do. You know what? He did tell me what happened is that he didn't have enough of everything printed out for you. He was getting ready to send it, but then he ran out of the filament. He had to wait for filament to come in. So he's like, hey, man, it's on its way. And I was like, well, good. I'm glad that Mr. Dallas is going to get some cool stuff. So
yeah, well, I'm going to have to check it out and give you the ultimate feedback. Well, I don't know about the ultimate feedback, but probably some pretty decent feedback.
What I'm liking the best is this right here is the jet kit. This one's amazing because it fits exactly like you could put 4 jets in that little thing and that's all you need. You know, you don't need the big thing for that. This is my favorite so far.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out because I use a fishing tackle box for my Quadrajet jets, but I do have quite a few of them.
I bet.
Yeah, let me get this thing kicked off from the top. Our biggest haters at the moment, SSR Performance, was in here first at 3:03 p.m. Slamming us about. Well, no, he's just saying all the early comments disappeared, but we're ready for the party. He's been giving us crap on YouTube the past couple of days about Triple Crown rules, which we are going to discuss today because we have a set of rules that are written and everyone agrees and it's going to go forward. So it'll be posted. So we'll talk about those tonight. Paul Pihui, I hope I didn't fall asleep before then. Slant Daily Garage, what's up, suckers? Bruce Colton, KS Skyhawk is here. Miss Catchy, Fab Race Mod Repeat, Junkyard D, Big Block 402, another Wednesday night. Let's see here. Scroll down. Danny Boyd is here. Bear Rose Garage, Buick Smith, a Dust Devil Garage is ring the bell. He's in here tonight. And Danny Boyd is getting himself some gin, huh?
That's perfect.
Colleen Tebow is here, or Mama M3. Unfinished Project Dart Sport. Let's see. Lout Burns. Man, I'm really okay. Hot Rod Guy Garage Russell is here. Bigfoots and Mopars Mark. Mohawk 62 is here. And I think I'm caught up. So everybody is pretty much greeting each other, and Colleen has thrown the link up there for WAF Racing. So go check them out. They are a sponsor of the Wednesday Night Tech Talk Live.
The first and only. I mean, they're like, and he's a racer too, so that's what makes it even better.
Well, and what's cool is like we're just giving out free info for everybody that wants to refine what they have. If we can help, we can help.
Yeah, and what's cool about this is that I believe this might be paying for our StreamYard. So that way there's no out of pocket on this because we turn off all the monetary on this, so it's just for you guys. So this is coming out of our pockets. So if this comes in here, perfect. This is going to pay for it. So that way we can keep doing this for you.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do we have any tech questions yet?
Nothing.
Everybody's just pretty much greeting everybody. Let's see. I don't see any tech questions yet. All right. Well, here we go. Miss Cat G, good evening, people stateside. Hello, Aussies and Kiwis. Val 360. Oh, so it's just everybody greeting everybody.
Yeah.
Man, well, we're waiting for your questions. So if you got any questions for Wednesday Night Tech Talk, so we can actually provide you with some tech, because we're the only Wednesday Night Tech Talk channel that gives you any kind of tech information.
Real tech. Actually, I do have something that I'll tell you. This is the first time it's ever happened to me, and Dallas knows this. I had Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, and I went to go jack up my car with my old jack that I've had for like 23 years. And I went to I jacked it up, and I was putting it up, and I was getting ready to take the wheel off. And I've never had a jack do this before. It literally exploded. And when I mean by exploded, the seal blew. It dropped right to the ground, and all the oil came out. And it's not even like I hadn't even had a chance to put the jack stand underneath it when it blew. So yeah, that was a first for me. So, and as I'm saying that, look, Dust Double Garage here, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Keeps the lights on.
Yeah. Here, pull John Wilbur. There you go. Keeps the lights on.
Buick Smith saying that he did a deep dive on the nubs in the combustion chamber of the Buick heads. They are just there as locating pins for secondary machining at the factory, so not there for swirl. So it would definitely be interesting to see what would happen if you take those out. Man, it's got me wondering now. I'm kind of wondering if there is a horsepower gain to take them out. Would it be smart to run an engine, find out what kind of power it makes, take the nubs out, and try to retain the same compression ratio?
You would have to deck the head, because remember, you're going to take some combustion chamber, so it's going to lower the compression, but it's your compression ratio, but it's going to make the swirl happen better, I believe. Nubs are probably the worst thing you can have inside of a combustion chamber. Well,
I don't know if I know the Vortec, the later Vortec, that's what makes it a Vortec head. So I don't know. The early Buick stuff has like a big square nub in them, and then the later ones, it gets a little bit smaller, but I don't really know what it would do to them. There's people tell me all the time, like, you should take that stuff out of there. And I'd rather to tell you the truth. Huh?
Just test it. Yeah. Do it.
It's something that's worth going to the dyno to find out if it makes any power difference.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
You could actually find out too, just by doing some if you just did some swirl port. So like if you actually did the head and you did a flow test on it, you'll find out too if the nub is anywhere in the airflow, because it might be you'll lose some compression, but you might pick up on the airflow. So
right, it might be worthwhile hitting up Andy and see if I can get on the flow bench over at Vizard's place.
That's what I was just about to say. Exactly.
Yeah, and pull that out and see what happens.
Yeah, because you will definitely see it. Because if it's anywhere near on the actual chamber itself, it will be impeding the flow. So it should be something that could be taken out or just smoothed out. Because any type of square edge is going to hurt things.
Huh. Okay. Well, go ahead.
Did you see Andy's video that he did for about?
I did.
Yeah.
With the smaller bore, how much it inhibits flow. Yeah. And there's actually a rebuttal video to that from Salter Racing. Did you see that one?
I saw that too. But the thing is, though, is that he was talking about a notch now, a swirl notch. But obviously, Andy had to cut it because it's tape, so he couldn't cut as much into it. But even if he did a little die grinder and cut a little die grinder, obviously he would gain more. He was just doing this to prove that a notch will do something more than nothing. And obviously, if you cut it at a bevel like that,
I don't think Brian Salter was busting his balls at all. He was just saying it can't be just a notch like the factory does. It actually needs to be a radius cut.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's beneficial.
Yeah.
But, Levi's Backyard Performance says, "Sup, gang? I'm making my to-do list for the winter to prepare for the start of race season. Among helping two others with Turbo LS builds, I'm a little behind, dude. Well, don't fall too far behind, because you still got a Triple Crown car to build. Yeah. You've talked so much smack, you can't back out now.
Yeah. By the way, Levi, congratulations! I saw he made the cover of some like promotional. Did you see that where he made a promotional?
It was his wheel stand launch.
Yeah.
I think it was for like Get 'em Garage or something.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's something like that though. Okay. Big Block 402 says, would the 850 VRS be enough carb for my 481 turning around 7,000 RPM? need it to be E85 because race gas ain't cheap. That's plenty of carburetor for that combination. That's actually probably ideal.
Yeah, you'd be if you're driving it on the street, that would be the ideal combination. But if you're actually going to be, if it's just a race car, I would look at the 950 E85 one, because that's one actually that the E85 isn't just putting more fuel in it; it's a whole different metering block. It's a whole different deal. You can convert the E85, the A52 and E85 by just changing out some of the emulsion tubes because the fuel's lighter, and the air bleeds, and then just how you're going to do that. Make the well a little longer. You can drill that out. Just do some little tricks to it. It will work. But for that amount of fuel, I would probably be looking at the 950, just because E85 does take 30% more fuel, which means you're going to displace that much more air out of the engine, out of the flow. So you're going to need a bigger carburetor because you're going to put that much more fuel into it, and it's just going to displace that much more air. That's the only reason why I would say that. If you're going to only race it, if you're going to drive it on the street, the A50 is going to be just fine.
Fab Race Mod Repeat at 708 saying dyno time with Dallas, test engine with and without nubs. It's funny that you say that. I'm actually this week I'm leaving to go over to visit Mr. Andy Wood, and we're gonna dyno the Easy 302 and just wring it out and get every kind of ounce of horsepower out of it that we possibly can. So, and we're gonna try a few things out, see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Buick Smith saying I sent you 3 pics. Okay. He did. My phone was blowing up. I was trying to figure out what was going on.
KS Skyhawk is saying that my budget might afford LS valves. I have a lathe. How much can you safely turn down a 3/8 stem? Brian Seltzer speaks of 47% length of the guide as a max cut down. I personally have never done that, so I couldn't exactly tell you on that. But I know that on some of the exhaust valves, they are hollow stem, and on some of them they're sodium filled, so you really can't turn down those much. But if it's just stainless steel, I'm not sure. But I would say that sounds about right.
Oh, well, he's just found he found an article on it, so it isn't anything. It's just saying it's a locating tab. So I kind of wonder what would happen if I cut them out of a set of Buick 350 heads. But I have no experience with cutting down the valves at all. For the 3/8 stem. In reality, I would much prefer to just. I already know for a fact the decreasing the diameter of the stem increases the flow of the port, just because it takes up less surface area inside the port, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's on the Slant 6. It's a 3/8 valve on this one. So I'll turn down for the stem part that goes actually into the chamber. I'll just turn that down. Even with just turning it on the drill press with a grinder, and I know it's totally redneck, but dude, it really does work.
Well, and I do know that 11-30 seconds is what most engines are, but they continue to get smaller as the engines progress through engineering, right? And the LS is what you told me, 8 millimeter, right? And I know that a lot of the stock car racing guys were doing 7 millimeter stems.
Yeah, they're actually some of the Ford ones are 7 millimeter too. I think that the overhead valve stuff, the
Coyote stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and it would be interesting to see if I could get it cut down, because see, that's one of the good things about the Buick stuff is there isn't room for a valve any larger than 192, right?
Yeah.
It's for intake valve. Well, with the valve diameter being that small, the mass of the valve is considerably less. So you don't really need as much spring pressure technically. And if you were to decrease the size of that's only going to work in your favor. It's actually going to be more rev happy.
Exactly. Everything gets better.
Yeah.
Big Block 42 is asking, is that 950 E85 available now? Yeah, I believe it is. It was released for PRI, and I believe we have some on the shelf. I think it's a good to go type of deal. So yeah. And right now you still got your discount. So call up Alex. So
Bruce Kultgen's asking, will they make a methanol Edelbrock VRS?
I can't speculate on that. I don't. As of right now, there are no talks about that. Even if there were, I couldn't tell you. But I can honestly tell you that I think E85 is the farthest down that path we're going to go. I mean, to be real, because the whole idea of the VRS is like it's a racing carburetor for the street, and a methanol really is nothing that you're going to be driving on the street. You know what I mean? I just don't see that happening. I mean, it might. I don't know, but I just don't see that happening.
Lout Burns, the comment right above that one, Lout Burns says, Andy was just proving the concept. Of course, exactly. He would chamfer it, not chew a notch in it like a rat.
Exactly. That's what I was I was yelling to the video when he was, at first it sounded like he was kind of talking shit, but then he wasn't. But then, when I saw the notch on it, because I went back to Andy's video and I watched it again, I was like, yeah, he did kind of chew a notch, but I was like, it's just a proof of concept. You prove something out. It did work. Now let's refine it. Let's make it better.
SSR Performance under that says, to add to Big Block's comment, race gas ain't cheap. Why is E85 not allowed in Triple Crown? Looks like a cost-effective alternative to me. Well, to you, it does, and then that's your perspective. But the reality of it is you're trying to keep everyone on an even keel, exactly. Right? And the idea was even keel, the only thing you can do if you open the door to E85, there's nothing stopping you from opening the door to E100. And if you're running E100, why are you not running M100?
That's right.
And it's like it starts to snowball. So right now, it's easy to keep everyone kind of on the same playing field with just gasoline.
Yeah, and that's true too, because remember, the whole idea of this is that whatever people had in the pits is what we were trying to make this class 4. So we don't want people to buy special carburetors, have special fuel lines, have special this. It literally was just to be, hey, here's a cheap alternative to run a heads-up race. That's why we did that.
Yeah. KS Skyhawk says, I have a lathe. I'll reshape. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Mr. Wilson's in here, and he was saying that the E85 ERS metering block have the larger main channels. That's what I was saying, is that the main wells in there that you need for the additional fuel flow. Yeah. We send some carburetors to Mr. Wilson there, and he's got Muscle Car Solutions there, so he talks about these things in depth. So we kind of use him as for R&D. So yeah, he's got a good handle on it. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Hawk saying, I have a lathe. I'll reshape under the valve and turn down the stem. How much do you think I can turn down the stems?
Not much.
Salter says 47% valve length is how much guide do you need to have? Okay. I really wouldn't go much past 11-30 seconds. If you're going to turn down the stem, I really wouldn't, because I don't know. Actually, tell you the truth, first I would take a valve and I would cut it in half and see if it's hollow.
That's exactly what I would do first, is cut it in half. Exactly.
Yeah. And then if it's not hollow, then you can pretty much, the world is your oyster at that point, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not going to run any kind of big spring pressure differences, you could cut it down significantly until it starts impacting the strength of the valve, right? So that's what you're limited by. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't go any more than, I really wouldn't go any more than like 11-30 seconds or possibly 8 millimeter, because it is going to get to a point where the valve is so weak that even the stock springs will snap the head at 5,500.
Yeah, and also too, remember, if you're going to be cutting down the lathe, make sure there is no heat involved in that, because you don't want to work hard in that, so that way it doesn't pop that valve off. I cut these down, but I can't. I don't have my numbers here, but I grind them down, and I grind them down very, very slowly, very cool, and I keep them. Take a temperature gauge on them, but I think I'm only taking like 70 thousandths total in diameter, and that's a big deal. That's like under head, right, basically where the valve comes up, and then from there, I think it's up only about 700 thousandths. I take that amount off, so that way it's just barely going into the seat, so that way into the guide. So when it comes down, all of that is in the chamber, so that way you're not getting any of that extra.
This is all for a test, and this is what he's trying to figure things out. If you have an entire cylinder head, I would put one chamber together with just stock valves.
Yeah.
Right. And then I would cut one down to 11-30 seconds, and I would cut one down to 5/16, which is essentially 8 millimeter. Right. And then you can do a lot of work on the backside of those valves just by shaping them.
Yes.
A much better shape for flow around the valve. And I think you can gain more there than you probably could with the stem. But I just know that the stem itself, if it was me and I was going to build a set of heads for a small block Buick, which don't really have much aftermarket support, the best thing to do would be go get like a 5.3 LS valve, which is a 192 intake valve. And I would buy like not just some OEM replacements. I mean, you could probably get an OEM replacement and it would be fine. But I would spend the extra money, and buy a set of Manleys because they're going to be already tapered and shaped and nice pieces. And then I would cut the guide to fit.
Yeah. Michael Schmidt's asking you something here. Is Dallas, you trying an MSD ignition? I bet they have one laying around if you don't have 6 of them. I think he's talking about for the dyno session.
No, I'm just using the HEI.
Perfect. That way you keep it apples to apples comparison. I like that.
So the plan right now is we're going to try a couple intake manifolds. I have a set of 1.6 rockers, which is that cam. The profile was actually based on 1.6. I used 1.5s.
Mm-hmm.
So there is going to be some gain there, guaranteed. We're not going to try MSD ignition. I do have something that's very old school and is kind of cool. Where before I removed the Quadrajet completely out of the equation, because everyone was saying you're going to gain 20 more horsepower with that Quadrajet. If you think about it, that's like, I don't know, that's about 8%. I don't think the Holley's going to give you 8%. I don't think so. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I do have a 2-inch 4-hole Offenhauser spacer that they used to run from the 60s. And we're going to try that on the Quadrajet, see what happens. And I'm thinking I might just try that, see what the number is, and then mill the center section out and make it an open, and then see what happens.
Is this a dual plane intake?
It is a dual plane. They're all dual planes, but they're all different style of dual planes.
Perfect, because the open hole is always going to work better on a dual plane, guaranteed.
Well, we'll see what happens if I open up that 2-inch Offenhauser spacer. I don't know if that plenum volume. Generally, what happens is when you open it up, the carburetor signal is better. So you actually have to normally either with better signal, you got to jet it down, right?
Usually,
I'll have to lean it out some. So, let's see. Okay.
Here, Buick Smith saying when Big Block Chevrolet 396 used to be pretty big cut out on the top of each cylinder to unshroud the intake valves.
I know that like Buick did it in the head. When they did the stage 1 heads, they did it on the head in the chamber. But the bore was already considerably bigger than the chamber.
Give me 1 second here. I took a picture of it. If you give me a second, I did a bunch of pictures of our new things here, and it's this one right. Oh, that's not it. Let's see here. Wrong way. Nope. Sorry about this, but I have to go one by one here. Here it is. That's the part number right there. If you can see that right there.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. 1309-E85.
Yep. 1309-E85. There you go.
And that's the performance says they have 850 and 950 E85 on shelf. No 650 or 750 yet, but coming. Racer Ray is saying, how much difference would there be between a properly tuned E85 and 100 octane fuel on the same engine?
E85 is going to make more torque. E85 definitely always makes more torque. And everything that we've ever tested, we've done E85, we've done it with 110, we've done it with 112, we've done it with. The only time it makes more power is if you're using Q116, which is oxygenated fuel. But E85 will always makes more torque no matter what engine it seems. And then we've noticed at the top end, sometimes they come closer together and then they don't diverge much. But it's literally in the mid-range, and the torque is where you're going to see the biggest gain on the E85 on most engines. Not all, but most engines.
There's actually a video. If you go watch the old Engine Masters series, they did a comparison for E85, and they actually did a couple of videos on it. where they determined where the cresting point was of adding ethanol to regular gasoline, and it turned out to be what, 37%.
Yeah, something like that. It's like 40% or something like that. So people always get up in an uproar. It's only 70%. Who cares? Who cares? When we
It
do
doesn't
our
really
test,
matter if it's over 30. And what it showed was the gains were actually negligible over the 37% mark. It was actually, you didn't even need the 85%. You only needed 37%.
Yeah,
so you had all the benefits of the ethanol, which is the cooler combustion, and that's the big one, is the heat. I think, honestly, to be honest with you, when you look at where the crest is at, that number is what you should be running. If you were running E85, you should shoot for like E37, because gasoline has more power per molecule than ethanol does, right? So you would actually be using considerably less fuel with all the benefits of E85.
Yeah, so, but the thing is that they are correct. You don't get the benefits of it, but what you do with the higher oxygen, like E85, it's less prone to detonation. That's the difference.
You do get the benefits. That's what the cresting number was.
Yeah, you do get the benefits, but it's not the detonation though. It's not as detonation proof. That's what we've tested that on our dyno. That's how I know that, is that it's less. It becomes more prone to detonating the lower the E number, and it's more prone to detonating. So that's why the higher numbers, like if you run, like say the E98, literally from E85 to E98, the only difference is it's more or less prone to detonation. So that's the only difference, is the higher the numbers, less prone to detonation.
Let's see. KS Skyhawk saying he's cut that exhaust valve in half and it is solid.
Perfect. Then you're good.
Yeah, cut it down. I know that the factory, the 300, 340, 215 had 11 30-seconds valve. So there is valve guides available.
Oh yeah. Well, big block 402. Mr. Wilson saying it's 1309-E85. So yeah, there it is.
So Dakota's timeout saying, how do you measure a valve guide clearance? I've got a set of unassembled heads and I've got some new valves, but I think they will be too tight as it is. Okay, the way I measure it, and it's to measure clearance, you really need like a snap gauge that'll fit in there, measure it, and then you actually get a caliper on it and measure the diameter of the valve and the difference between the two. That's your clearance. But the way I do it is kind of a backwoods way, and it's the way I was taught, is you push the valve in, the stem in with your finger up against the guide, and then pull the valve out. If it creates suction and you have like a pop when you pull it out, the valve guide is good. It's tight.
That's right. Yeah. Here's another way too that I do it too, is that if you put like WD-40 on it, after you do that test, I put WD-40 on it. If it doesn't change, it's still good. Then if you use engine assembly lube and it goes in really, like it actually slows it down by the movement, that means it's literally perfect.
And SSR Performance is saying depends on the engine, Racer Ray. 400 horsepower engine, not much to gain. A 1200 horsepower boosted engine, it can be a very good amount, and it is. It's a huge amount. When the bigger the cubic inch and more boost you're running, the more difference it makes.
Yeah, we've seen up to like 60 horsepower just on an NA engine, but that was almost 800 horsepower at that point. But it was still 60 horsepower. That's quite a bit,
Oh yeah, but so you're probably looking at, I would have to say, you can almost throw out there 10 to 15% gain and be like almost guaranteed that number at any type of E85.
Yeah, I would say, that's about, I would say 10, I would say 15 to 20. So on a 4, because it'd be about 40.
Well, you said the 800 horsepower engine gains 60 horsepower. 60. So that's less than 10.
Yeah, it's less than 10, but see on that one though, but we were using Q16 though. So, I mean, C16. So, and that was just pump gas E85. So the last engine that we did was a 500 horse, and it was mostly in the torque. It wasn't really horsepower, but the torque was up by about 50 foot-pounds of torque. because it makes such a cooling charge on it.
Yeah, and also that was one thing that I didn't address earlier when SSR Performance asked about the E85 thing. What we did is we mandated gasoline, and it was really geared around the 110, which is the cheapest gas that you can get for racing, right?
Yeah.
And that way you could still have some compression. That was kind of the idea.
Yeah, and these things too. I mean, most engines for this 360 are going to have 11 and a half. It's going to be hard to get more than 12 and a half to 1 compression on because you're stroke limited. You know.
Let's see.
I'm currently working on. Let's see if I missed anyone. Okay, figured out how single plane to take.
Oh, so KS Skyhawk went and looked up the Manley race valves for an LS are $233. I would buy just one and see if they'll fit in the head first. If you can cut them to get the keepers in them,
right? That seems like a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't splurge on them quite yet.
Tip pedal garage. See if there's anything.
Danny Boyd's saying he thinks the 260 and 289 Fords are the same stroke. He can't remember. I believe that is the case. I believe they are all the 287 stroke.
Yeah. Oh, Dizzy. So he's saying that he's ready to come down and get some heads next week. Okay. Did you want an intake? And if so, I have a dual plane or a single plane. I believe I have a Performer RPM, and I also have a Victor, Victor Jr. I believe.
He's probably doing this for the Vagrant, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
He definitely wants to do the dual plane if he wants to drive it on the street.
Yeah. So whatever one you want, just let me know, and we'll go from there.
Let's see. Okay.
Dakota Simon says you can put a couple of gallons of E85 in your regular gas hot rod and gain any benefits without changing any parts. Yes and no. I mean, you'll gain something, but unless you add more fuel, because the whole idea of this is you have to add more fuel because the E85 is less dense of a fuel. The density of it is less. So, and also too, E85 is not really like rubber hose friendly. So typically you're going to have either a hardline or a PTFE of some sort. It's just something I wouldn't do. It's either convert or don't.
Well, I want to say, isn't 30% more required? It depends on, okay, that's why you want to know the percentage of ethanol in the fuel, because you do have to increase the fuel capacity or your jet size so that the engine still has the same stoichiometric ratio, right?
Yeah.
For it to be happy. You essentially just lean it out when you do that. But just as an FYI, what is it? Oxygenated race fuel is virtually just methanol in the fuel.
Right. Buick Smith's asking you a question here.
Dallas, at what RPM or fuel flow on a quadrojet would you need to increase the inlet filter housing size to keep the bowl filled? Okay, and that's the bowl filling problem. That is a I'm going to call it a wives' tale. Okay. I would almost go out on a limb to say that the bowl filling problem that exists that people are they talk about generally happens with big blocks. I've had it happen with my Suburban, but also I went to Polito's house for Professor P's house for No Name Nationals this year, and I'm like, dang, it's like falling on its face when you give it fuel and you open the secondaries. And I ended up taking out like the fuel filter, pulled the fuel filter out, and I had the damn thing in backwards. You know, it was just, I was in a rush. I crammed it in there and I didn't think nothing of it. But I'm kind of wondering if the bowl filling issue is not really an issue and it's more or less an operator error thing. Because I've never had one, but I've also never had a big block that I leaned on hard enough where, you know, I've never raced a big block. I guess the closest I've ever came is my T-Bird, but I always raced small block stuff and it never was really an issue. But I do know the 75 and later quadrojets has a plastic phenolic bowl inside the carburetor housing inside the main body. And you can take that out because it has a passage directly to the main fuel bowl. And if you remove that phenolic plastic bowl inside there, it will give you that entire area to fill up with extra fuel. So there isn't such a problem. The later ones were the ones, if there was an issue, it would be with the later ones because they have the smaller bowl and then actually a larger float. So you would technically have a problem with those, and most likely it would be in a big block situation for sure. But I've never really had a problem with it. And generally, if I do have a problem with it, that's what the stage 1 pump came from, was to fill that bowl with plenty more fuel than what it needed. So I would have to say it needs to be at least 6 pounds, but you really, what you're looking at is volume. The volume of the fuel flow, you probably need a minimum of a 3/8 line all the way up to the carburetor, and should be a constant flow deal. And I would run it at 6 pounds, and I would probably add a 1/16 to my float for float level.
Yeah. Dead Pedal Motors is saying E85 is essentially what 113 octane, if I remember. Yeah, we've sent it out to many different places, and it comes out to between, I'm going to say 115 to 112 is where
I thought it was 104.
Well, it depends though, because it depends on how you're using it. See, that's where it gets interesting. Yeah, you can go all the way down to 104 it depends on the compression ratio. So like if you're putting it in like something that's like 100, well, let's just call it like a 10.5 to 1 engine, it's going to act like a higher octane. But then as a compression keeps going up, it's less prone to detonation, but yet it drops it just a little bit. It's really funny stuff on how it works. And then the more fuel you use, it actually then now starts to raise the octane because of how much fuel you're putting into the engine, because it cools the charge so much, and you're putting so much fuel into it. So it will literally frost. It will freeze the intake runners.
Yeah, that's the uniqueness of alcohol. You can actually pour alcohol in your hand, light it on fire, and it will not burn you, not for a while.
Yeah, not till you jerk it like that.
Yeah, then it starts actually burning the oil on your hands, right? But if you keep it in just a nice pool, right, in your hand and light it on fire, it really won't burn your hand at all. It stays nice and cold because it burns cold, believe it or not. So, yeah.
Dizzy's saying that he put a new dual plane intake on with 150 NOS shot last spring. That's awesome, dude.
Well, I guess he doesn't need an intake then.
Right? Oh, here's SSR saying stock GM computer in an LS will add 24% with long-term trims, but can get up to E30 or E40 and get a small bump. But yeah.
The cool thing about some of them GM cars was they were E85 compatible from the get-go.
Yeah. On our Tesla, we have a flex fuel sensor on the Tesla car, the big twin turbo big block. So it's constantly testing it because we're running literally pump gas E85 driving down the road, and so the tune will constantly adjust itself as we're driving down the road, and we try to use the gallons up on top. That's the good stuff. Like my
buddy had a minivan, had a Dodge minivan from like 2001, and it was dual fuel. It was E85 compatible. It was dual fuel back then.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. I guess so. Those sensors are pretty readily available in junkyards today.
Yeah. Clayton's Toolbox asked him a question: how big of a fuel pump would you need for 600 horsepower at the flywheel? That depends on what fuel, and are we carbureted or are we fuel injected? That's two different numbers. There's many different numbers there. On mine, I like to always go more fuel than necessary, but you could easily put an Aeromotive A1000 pump on there. We also have the Edelbrock, I think it's the 190 gallon per hour one. That one works well. We've used that up to 600 horsepower. but it's not E85 compatible. Just know that.
The Holley Blue Pump, actually, this is about the cutoff for it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the Holley Blue Pump, where you shift from a blue pump to a black pump. So you're
Yeah.
kind of like right on the cusp.
Yeah, and I would just go with the black then at that point, because I like to and just run a return system so that we never have to worry about it. Oh, here. This is, I guess, in rebuttal to yours. He's saying, or not rebuttal, but kind of saying about he drills out the fuel inlet for the needle as an option also.
Huh. You can open up that fuel inlet. I don't see why you couldn't. There's quite a bit of room to take out there.
Yeah, and the more area you have, you can just keep dropping that pressure, because I'd rather have volume than pressure. I've always said that. What is an electric pump with carbs? Yeah, like you said, the blue pump or the black pump. If you're looking at Holley, if you're looking at Edelbrock, I think it's a 1792, I believe, is the part number. I think I actually know that number. Aeromotive, I'd look at the A1000 pump. That's pretty much your go-to on that one. But any one of those would be fine. Dizzy saying it has iron 360 truck heads on it now. Runners been smoothed out. I think the Edelbrock aluminum heads will let it breathe. Absolutely. In fact, Andy's just did those. I think they're flowing like 255, 260 CFM. So yeah, that will definitely allow that thing. That means that you could essentially make up to about 500 horse if you do get your cam right and everything right. You could easily make that.
So Big Block 402 say my F-150 is flex fuel, but the mileage sucks, so I stay with 87 octane. Look, guys, you're comparing apples and oranges here with fuels, because the 85 requires 30% more fuel to get the same results.
Exactly.
In gasoline. Okay, so if you had this, like, let's say you had 12 ounces of gasoline, you'd have to have 12 ounces plus 30% of that on top of E85 to get the same result as gasoline. The octane is higher, but it does gobble up a considerably big amount of fuel compared to just regular gasoline.
Yeah, I'm going to send this to the Nelson guys, because they've been looking for a Mopar, and he is right. It's funny he says that, because I'm seeing a lot of A-bodies showing up on my marketplace feed. A lot.
Dude, I saw one just the other day that was like absolutely killer. It was a 68 Valiant.
Oh yeah,
it was like $3,500.
Yeah,
and I mean, it was cherry. I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
so,
and they're all under $4,000 too. I was like, man, that's actually seems like a deal nowadays. Where's the $500 Mopars? It used to be,
Yeah, well, the A bodies used to be free. I paid $30 for my 340 Formula S CUDA.
Wow.
And that they weren't worth shit in the early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah, my 344 speed, 1970 Dart, wasn't running, needed points on it, $50, and to get it out of the yard. $50 and got out of the yard.
Well, Buick Smith says, can you richen or lean the mixture on the Quadrajet with the float height, like on a Holley, where you can change the float height instead of changing jets? Yes, that is just head pressure. Okay, so the higher the fuel is, the more head pressure on the jets, forcing more fuel through the jets. It's always going to be that way, regardless of carburetor.
Can you do a Quadrajet externally though, or do you have to take it apart?
You have to take it apart. And that's what I was just going to say, is like, it's going to be counterproductive, because to take the float out, you got to virtually disassemble the entire carburetor. And at that point, when you're doing that, you might as well just change the jets and leave the float the same.
Yeah. And that's why in the garage here, I'll count the flats. So I set mine up in the middle of the site, and I know that 2 flats will raise it to the top, 2 flats will bring it down this way. So if I'm at the track and I just need it's a little fat, I'll just lean it out and I'll send 2 flats on it, send it down the track. It's usually good to go.
Okay, so Val 360 Jimmy is saying, hey Shane, off the top of your head, do you remember what bore size the Indy small block heads are flow tested on?
I don't remember, but I think it was 4030. I think is what they were. Mine were flowed at 4030, and they flowed pretty when I first got my Indy heads, I got those the very first. I got the Gen 1 ones, and they flowed exactly what they were advertised at the time. And then I got them CNC ported, and then they flowed like 340 CFM or something like that, I think is what they do. And the thing about the Indies, though, is the mid lift numbers. That they didn't really flow the big, extravagant high numbers. It's all that mid lift, and that's why I never really lift that thing crazy. It's only 700 lift at the valve compared to a lot of race engines that are like 800, whatever, because there's no reason to. I just run really fast profiles, get it off the seat, and run it that way. But I think mine were on the 4030s, and I don't remember the flow numbers exactly off the top of my head.
So Val 360 Jimmy saying, put those A bodies on a container and send them here. That's probably a pretty good business, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Is send those cars overseas. Yeah. I don't know how feasible it is living in the center of the country, though, because like the closest port would probably be New Orleans, and you would have to pay through the Panama Canal, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be pricey. The best thing to do is catch it out of Long Beach, and then it's considerably cheaper because it doesn't have to go through the Panama Canal.
Yeah, A-bodies are about the only older Mopar still affordable to build. I agree. That's why I have, 5 here, 2 more in California. So I have 7 of them total. So yes, I agree. I like the A-bodies. Oh, hey, your favorite, go ahead and say it. This is your favorite.
Kerosene Cucumber is the greatest name on all of YouTube.
There it is right there.
Yeah, Lout Burns says, my brother's Chevy Quadrajet, always dribbling fuel, tries everything. Finally, just replaced it with an Edelbrock. Never solved the problem. Go figure. I've never solved it on any Quadrajet that I've ever had. They always seem to dribble fuel either out of the vent or out of the around the accelerator pump. But I always run the float like really high, like higher than what's recommended from the factory. I could probably lower it down and it might actually be fine. I don't know. But also Quadrajets are seriously prone to the air horn warping. So if you mill the air horn flat and put a new gasket in it, like Quadrajet Power, I think it's Quadrajet Power, has 15,000 gaskets now for the air horn on the Quadrajet, and it seems to seal them up pretty good. And it takes even the most warped up ones, it seems to seal them up pretty good. But I always get leakage out of there.
Dead Pedal Mopar's out of here. Take it easy, man. Thanks for stopping by. Oh. Do you remember those 2005 Crossfire? Remember the Crossfire convertibles? Remember those?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember those things. They would have been badass if they actually had like a Hemi in them or something.
You know, that was in the late 90s, early 2000s. That was Chrysler's like downfall. They came out with the Prowler. The Prowler could have been badass. It had just a Magnum 5.2 in it, right? And it was rear-wheel drive and front engine. But no, it's like rear engine, rear-wheel drive, Intrepid motor, right? Like, oh, what
V6? Yeah,
what a piece of trash. They had the opportunity to make something awesome.
No, Andy's in the house. What's up, Andy? How's it going, man? We were just talking about you on the. I hope your ears were burning about the cylinder heads in the 318. We just saying awesome video. We thought that was great. Yeah, we guess we're caught up.
Yeah, but that Crossfire, luckily, that's one thing they fixed with the Crossfire is that it is rear-wheel drive.
Yes.
And I think they actually have, that 3.6 Pentastar V6 in them? I don't know.
Now, the Prowler, that was a rear engine thing? I didn't know that.
It's a rear engine, rear drive thing. But it was just essentially the front-wheel drive set up from an Intrepid.
Oh, just in the back.
It's the Chrysler's version of the Fiero. Is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
You know, the Fiero, though, I think the Fiero honestly had scale points on it because it was mid-engine and rear drive. I'm sure it didn't perform as good as the Prowler. The Prowler looked good. There was nothing wrong with the way it looked. It was just, man, if they were going to bring back the hot rod, they should have. They already got the perfect recipe. I mean, it's fucking Mopar. I mean, they made some of the best muscle cars, right?
right?
I mean,
I
they
mean, they
can
were like,
literally just take the recipe from the muscle car. I always wondered if like let's say one day I woke up and I inherited Pontiac or something, right? Or General Motors. What would I do if it was me and I inherited it? What would I do? I would go back through time and I would leverage the heritage series of cars
mhm.
and I would literally start making 57 Chevys again. Why? Because they'll sell like fucking hotcakes,
Yep.
right? I would make the I don't know, either 68 to 72 Chevy GMC trucks again, or I'd do the square body again, 73 through 91. And I don't know, but I would do stuff like that. I would make cars that people wanted and continue to make them, right? It just has to meet emissions and crash requirements. That's probably not that complicated when you look at, you already start with a body that's decent. I still don't see why they can't make it and call it a 1973 or a 70 or a 71.
So, Andrew, we were just actually talking about this. It's funny because you guys were talking about an A-body Mopar. My whole marketplace has been blowing up with A-bodies, and I guess they're kind of everywhere. So take a look in your area, or what are you looking for? Because I'm gonna tell you, I've seen about 15 or 20 have popped up in the last couple of weeks. What are you looking for? Because there might be some out here in our area that you might be interested in. So just let us know what you're looking for.
Hey, look at this. Barrows Garage says, I've seen the Jay's Garage with the Prowler and Chip Foose. He actually hates the car because Mopar totally kneecapped his original design. It was front engine, rear design when Chip Foose put that together.
Yeah, someone up here was saying that it is a front engine too. I've never even I've seen them on the road, but I've never actually looked at one like up close. So I didn't know. I really thought they were front engine rear wheel drive. I didn't know they were rear. Bring back. Oh yeah. So if you had your own car, bring back the big block, Dallas.
I don't know if that would be the case, but I just think I don't see why you can't just make something that's like, that was the most desirable stuff, the things that people wanted. You already made them before, and the only reason you changed is so that because the styles were changing, but you know what sells. To me, it's the easiest win, right? I mean, literally is the easiest win. Just make a 57 Chevy again. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, but can you call it a 57 Chevy? I know, like if you build a car at home, let's say a hand dollied a 57 Chevy, right? I can sell it as a 57 Chevy. I can title it as a 57 Chevy. Can a manufacturer do that if they produce one today?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think they can. I think that's what hinders them. But I don't see why they change body styles like
so much
every couple of years. Yeah, I mean, okay, sales are down, but yet you know what? You don't have jack crap in R&D. Not anymore. You've recouped all that. So now you just decrease the price of the car and keep bringing it down, and they'll still sell like hotcakes. That's what I think would be interesting.
Here's something for you right here. Way off subject, but thought of an idea the other day. How about a stage 2 aluminum stroked big block Buick in a new Jeep Gladiator and call it the Dauntless equipped unit? That's actually pretty good, man.
With a switch pitch, right? That's what
with the switch pitch. There we go. 53 minutes in. I'm more partial to 55 body style myself. I agree. In fact, that is my son's favorite car is a 55 Chevy. Of course, he wants a Hemi in it, but he likes
55 is
Chevy.
my all-time favorite, honestly.
Which one?
But 55 is my all-time favorite. I've told you that before. When I think of to try fives, that's what my brain goes to is the 55.
The 57, I like the wings, but I'd like to look at them. I wouldn't want them. Does that make sense?
I think they look too classy for me.
Yes.
Right? Like, I like the more plain Jane dumbed down version of 55.
That's why
I also like how that the turn signals are in the fender, like they're not part of the grill. They're not on a bumperette. They're just part of the fender. I think it looks better.
Yeah. Dakota's timeout is actually saying probably the best thing. They probably would rather delete the entire pass if they could, control us, right? They just want to control, delete, just get rid of all the cars that can be fixed.
Well, that's why I'm just going to drive old stuff till I die. So nobody's controlling nothing.
Hey, so Dr. Go is saying that the Prowler is a front engine 6 and rear drive. My friend had one with a wide tire and light, and it would hook up and fool a Mustang, and then that overstabilized and smoked on too much throttle. Wow, I didn't. Like I said, I don't know.
I thought they were rear engine, rear drive, rear engine, rear drive. But I could be wrong. I've never owned one, and I've never seen one up close.
Yeah. Yeah, I really thought it was a front engine, but because I did see one at a car show, and it had a Hemi in it, and it didn't really fit in the nose, so the Hemi kind of stuck out, and then it looked really cool. So. Oh, yes. The reason why it never happened is the majority of the folks these days require all the bells and whistles. A 57 Chevy, it's an antique. Yeah, that's why I love old cars. I can't. My phone inside the car is too much. I shut off. I just like the pure joy of driving, and that's it. I don't like having a TV screen. In fact, the new car that we bought for the wife, I got her a Journey, and a Dodge Journey on purpose, because it didn't have a big ass TV screen. It had none of that stuff. It has a radio, little dials, buttons that you for the AC. It doesn't have a little screen that you're touching a bunch of shit to turn on, vents and this and that. It just you turn a dial, it's on. I like that. To me, I want to slide something and good to go.
Simple too. I like them. I do like them simple.
Yes.
I wish I could go back to for me, the perfect time frame was 68 to 72. That's when they started getting plastic in the inside, but they weren't all plasticky, But 73 and on is where it just went off the deep end. That's where it got all the plastic. How much plastic you want on this car? All of it, right? But it's just urethane bumper fillers, because I got them gaudy bumpers from the Ralph Nader era bumpers. Oh God. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think about it, go back and look at a 72 Vet and a 73 Vet, and you'll see exactly what the bumpers did to everything in America at that time. Those crash bumpers.
James says it the best, and you said it, but this is actually sums it up. 55 is more of a hot rod. That's why they are fun. 57 is a classic, and you said it exactly like that.
Yeah, it's too fancy for me.
Yeah.
57, especially the Bel Air. But I guess I could probably see myself in a 210 or a 150 post car. Without being a Bel Air.
Wait, so interesting that he's all Tri-5s work for me. He's had 4 55s, 355, 4 55s, 355s, and we're currently have 2 57s. Okay, here's the thing. Do you want to sell any of them? Because my son wants a Tri-5, and 55 is what he wants, but whatever he gets is what he gets. And I think that'd be the coolest thing, that he's going to be 11 in March, and that way we can start building something for him when he turns 16. I mean, I'm thinking Gen 3 Hemi and 8-speed. I think that'd be awesome.
Oh, so it is front engine rear drive.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. So somebody sent me a picture. It has a 3.5 Chrysler in it.
Oh,
which is the Intrepid motor, but it's in the front.
It's in the front, yeah. Okay, well, once again, I didn't know that either, so. Hey, Andrew, since you're still here, what Mopar are you looking for? What kind of A-body are you looking for? Because I'm not sure if you heard this earlier, but they're popping up everywhere, and then maybe we can all kind of look out for you on something.
Yeah, and there's a 68 Valiant here for cheap, and it's really clean looking, 2-door post. Well, I think they're all posts. Aren't all the Valiants posts?
Some of them, yes. Yeah, I think most of them are. There's a 96 truck V10 for sale, local to me. Is there any potentials on these? And will the LA 727 bolt right up to it? Yes, actually, because it literally is just a Magnum style engine with 2 extra cylinders on it.
It's a Magnum 360, isn't it?
Yes,
with 2 more cylinders.
Exactly what it is. Some of the Vipers started out that way, but then they slowly divulged to their own type of animal. But the very first ones were literally just a Magnum block with 2 extra cylinders on them.
You know what would have been really bitching if they would have made one that was similar to a 340. it would have been V10 with the real short stroke and
Big
uh,
bore.
oh my god, dude, that
That
thing
that's
would
what
have
the
been a
Viper turned out to
monster,
be.
huh?
That's actually what the Viper turned out to be. The Viper
Oh,
engine was
really? It would have
yeah,
been
they got
a damn monster.
it became a much bigger bore and a much shorter stroke, and it had different heads and different cams, and yeah, I worked a lot with those when I was over there at Crowder. We used to, there was a couple companies, and they were making like 1,500, 2,000 horsepower with some of these camshafts, and they were daily driving 2,000 horsepower, 3,000 horsepower Vipers. They were doing all that, like where you kind of that roll racing. Remember it became very big now, but it was
Yeah.
very, very like new at that time.
So SSR Performance is saying the 66 Chevy 2 is the best looking car GM ever made. I I, I mean, all of this, of course, is just going to be opinion based, but I do like the little shoebox Novas. I think they're simple. But I don't I actually like the earlier Nova, like the 63 4, because they were more, I don't know, it had more 60s flair it didn't quite have fins. It had spears on the back. Um,
Yeah.
but I think there was a lot of cars during that era that when they hit the ball, they hit a freaking home run on them. Like you couldn't change one thing to make it look better, really. And Nova is one of them. I think the 69 Camaro is one of them. I really think the 69 and 70 Boss Mustang is a car that you couldn't change anything on. It would take away from it.
Yeah.
There's certain cars in history like that. I still think 67 through 69 Barracuda is a good looking car. And I hear people say that they hate them or they love them. And I don't know how anyone could hate that car. I think of super stock drag racing every time I picture that car.
So this is still on the tech stuff, but this is actually some interesting news. Do you think IHRA can build up the Memphis Motorplex back up in the next year season? The place is a third world right now. Yes. But here's the thing is that there's a few people who went over there this last week, and after they announced that they were going to, it's actually on the schedule at the end of 2026. They're going to be racing there. He went over there looked at the circle track and looked at the drag strip. All the buildings are gone, but the drag strip has got some weeds coming through it, but that's only on the burnout area. But the concrete area, it still looks good. So do I think it can happen? Yes. Do I think it's going to be like a bitch and permanent structure like it was before? Probably not so much. I think it's going to be kind of more of a pop-up tent type of racing. But the big building is gone. That was there.
I think, okay. This is just my opinion. When I started doing the AHRA, I was trying to do it because I could see a gap between the haves and the have-nots in drag racing, right? In sportsman drag racing. You had showed up with toter homes or you were hauling out of the back of your minivan, right? With your junior dragster. And there was a huge disparity, and it was all virtually tons of electronics to win the bracket race. So the regular weekend warrior guy didn't even try anymore because you had to defeat the Biondo family to win the race, right? And it's freaking hard because it makes the delay box doesn't make a driver fantastic, but it makes a good driver better.
Yeah.
And it does give you two options to essentially cut the light down. I like what the guy from the IHRA is saying because he's actually saying the same thing that I was when I was doing the AHRA, and that was there was a huge disparity. He's trying to make it cost effective for the regular racer to participate again, and that's exactly what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested to watch to see how this happens because I started doing it and I didn't have jack shit for money. I mean, when I started AHRA, I paid more money for the name than I did for the truck I was driving. Okay. And the ridiculous thing about it was that was all the money I had just to buy the name. That was the startup capital and everything. And once I had it, I didn't even really know how to generate the startup capital. So I just went down to the bank and tried to get a loan, and they just laughed me out of the place. And I'm like, well, how the hell do you get money to get this thing generated and running? So I created a stock, and I started selling the stocks to people to get the company going, right? And I ended up generating a bunch of money out of thin air with a stock. And It worked well. Actually, up through my third year, which unfortunately, my third year, in the first 2 months, we brought in more money in the first 2 months than I had the entire 2 years combined. Um, and then COVID lockdown happened, and
Yeah.
it freaking squashed everything, right? And I mean, I literally just put the money in the bank, but I was sweating bullets. I didn't know how anything was going to go, but I had lost the motivation that you create, like not in myself, but I mean, like you create like a inertia effect when you start doing something and people enjoy it, right? And that inertia effect starts snowballing, and you get a lot more people coming in, helping out, and doing things, and it starts to make a much better product. Well, I had lost that snowball effect because my third year was the year that you have to make your money back so you can continue going. And then as it's didn't snowball because everything went on COVID lockdown, um, I had to start back up with nothing, with whatever I had left in the bank, which was one half of what I started the company with. This guy has piles of money. And I mean, by piles of money, I mean like legitimately piles of money. This guy, I think he had a $2 billion business before he even signed on, before he bought the name. Okay. I know he didn't pay a bucket load of money to Larry Jeffers for the name. He probably paid about what Larry Jeffers paid. Okay. Which back then was, I don't even know if it was ever disclosed, but I mean, I didn't sign an NDA, but Larry Jeffers paid $1 million for the thing. And he wanted the AHRA, but I didn't want to sell because I hadn't accomplished what I had wanted to do. And he wanted to buy it from me, and then he also wanted me to run it. And I'm like, no, if I sell it, I'm not going to run it. I just want to step away, and I just want to enjoy going racing and stuff. But yeah, I don't know where this is going to go. It seems to me that they may have spread themselves too thin, but I hope not, because I think they have the opportunity to fix a lot of stuff, but I think they're trying to fix too many things at the same time. Okay. And they really need some help. I've actually been considering calling them and see if they'll hire me.
So Andrew Nelson saying that I was telling if you guys want to look for cars for him, here you got two-door Dodge 67 69 preferred, 7072 would work. Any Dodge that is light rear-wheel drive. The 66 and earliers darts are too narrow in the engine bay. I agree. Mine is way too narrow. It's going to be. I'm going to play hell getting a Gen 3 Hemi in there, but I'm telling you, I'm just going to do it. But yeah, they're almost 2 inches narrower inside the frame rail there compared to the 67, 69. So there you go. If you guys find that, message Andrew Nelson. I'm assuming he's probably looking for a non-post because they have a much lower roof height. That's exactly what I'm looking for a race car, because then you drop 2 inches out of the roof line, so it makes it a little bit more.
Did you know that my Fox body T-Bird has the windshield's 2 inches shorter than a Mustang?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, T-Bird and Cougar and Lincoln Mark 7 are the only ones that share that windshield. And all the other Fox bodies are the same window.
Oh.
Fairmont, LTD, Zephyr, and Mustang.
So Danny Boyd's asking, Dodge never put the first-gen Hemi in pickups. Here's the thing, though, is that I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that I did used to buy Dodge trucks that were like tow trucks, and they were like the 1-ton heavy duties, and they had Dodge. They had.
I know they had Hemis. I know they had Hemis in the first gen Hemis in the trucks. That's right, because there is in the Midwest. When I was a youngster, everyone still had the old grain trucks, right? And the old grain trucks, which were essentially the cab and fenders forward of the Swept-line Dodges, and they had Hemi. The Swept-line is a 64, right? Oh no, that would have been the second gen Hemi.
Yeah, but no, the stuff I'm talking about is like late 50s. These are like tow trucks from like late 50s.
They had old grain trucks that were rounded fender trucks that had early Hemis in, but they were like 331 Hemi with a 1 barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
They were weird stuff like that.
Yeah, so I used to buy those in California where I was at. Like a lot of those were still on Navy bases, and they would sometimes show up in the wrecking yard, and I would buy those engines every once in a while. And the 331 industrial engine, like 55, 57, that was the head to get, because it flowed an incredible amount of airflow. It was like 400 CFM right out of the box. So Yeah, that was the one to get. But I did see them in trucks, but I never saw them on like road vehicles. They were only like in work trucks, it seemed like.
SSR Performance says the Dorana guy has endless money. Amazon contractor. They can get it done if that's what they decide to do at Memphis and Atlanta. I hope they do pull it off. I really hope this succeeds. And I'm not saying that just like sarcastically or anything like that. I really want to see someone fix what's wrong with drag racing, because I don't want to see it go away, right? But I'm going to have to continue watching it. I'm very interested in seeing what's happening, but man, I cringe at the idea of, if this fails, it will be an epic failure. Agreed. On biblical proportions.
It could really crush drag racing as we know it if this fails.
And not just drag racing. Your boats will be gone. Your tractor pulling will be gone. All of it, because it's got its fingers in every bit of it.
Every bit of it. Yep.
And I'm praying that he pulls it off. And I hope he does a good job. And I hope he brings fans back to the stands and makes people desire to want to do it again and makes things cost effective. Yep. But on the other end of that teeter-totter, man, could it be an epic ball of shit.
Good. I agree. So I'm not going to try to figure out how to pronounce this, but a Goopik?
Goopy K?
Goopy K? Okay, so Colleen, what does NNN stand for? No Name Nationals. It's kind of how this community was built, and it's an event that happens sometime in September. John Wilburn and Dallas right here, they're the ones who kind of came up with the concept, and it's for small YouTube channels, 500 subscribers or more, and where we can kind of get together for basically car stuff for 3 days. So basically what it is.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No Name Nationals. There you
go. Indirect Connection saying, I'm pretty sure the first gen Hemi was in the Power Giant. And I think almost all the industrial stuff came with Hemis in it. There's an industrial version of the Hemi. It doesn't matter if it's first, second, or probably even third gen.
Yeah, the 331 was the industrial Hemi. That's literally what it was. For 55, 56, and 57, they had an industrial 331 Hemi. Yeah. I've got a 354 Hemi, and I've got 331 industrial heads on it. And that's sitting out at Paul. Remember Paul Wagner? Remember Paul Wagner?
Yeah.
Okay, it's sitting out in his. That's where my cars are sitting at. Is it in his field out there in like, where's that place at? He was Lakeside.
Oh, he's in Lakeside.
Yeah.
Oh well. Let's see. Fabrace Mod Repeat says, Dallas, I still think your idea was the best. Well, thank you very much, and I really do think that it had an opportunity to work out.
Yes.
And who knows what's going to happen in the near future? Shane and I have already talked about stuff. I've told him things that I've been thinking about for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I gave you some. We came up with probably the best drag and drive thing ever.
I know, but like pulling it off will be not easy, especially if IHRA owns all the tracks and won't let me participate. But that'll be a monopoly then, so they'll bust them up. SSR Performance says, first off, thanks for sending us $19.99. It helps keep the lights on. And then he's been busting my balls for the past couple of days on YouTube. So if you haven't seen it, maybe I should pull that up. Let's see. Can I do that on here? Can I screen share?
Yeah, you could just put it up there, present it, and I'll just share it to the screen. So
let me pull one of his videos up so you guys can watch him busting our balls on our reactions to it.
So 1958 Power Giant has a 331 firepower V8 as an option. Yes, I do, because I remember that. That's exactly what I used to buy for those, because that had the good head Hemi in it, and that's what I would buy. Is I would buy those wreckers or those trucks or whatever they were, and I would get them for that exact thing. Is it up?
All right. Sorry, did you hear that?
No.
You couldn't hear that?
If you bring it up, get rid of the intro and put it up there, and I'll share it to the screen.
Well, I was trying to find it, but of course, the first thing that happened when I pulled up YouTube, a commercial came on.
Oh,
so
oh, here we go. Mohawk 62 says, Andrew, I found a 67 Dart 2-door, no engine or trans, $1,700 or trade in Boonesville, Mississippi. There you go, man. That's decent, man. That's like perfect right there. So, Andrew, if you're still here, get a hold of Mohawk 62. Boonesville's not that crazy far. That's not bad. For you, it is, but one of us could go get it for you and bring it. Now I can put it on the side of the yard here when you come down here. When I see you next time, you can pick it up.
I'm trying to find SSR Performance channel, and it's like I don't think this is their channel. I don't think so. It has like this importy looking BMW and stuff. It can't be.
Doctor goes, does anyone ever run the marine versions of a Mopar 318 through 6440? I always hear they tuned and cammed for low torque and get big heavy boats up on the plane. Can they also run like the 5,500 RPM? Look, I built a lot of these, and there was a lot of these in some of the Bay engines that I would build when I was in California. The camshafts in them are incredibly small, and they're on an extremely tight LSA, and they were basically 3,500 RPM. That's it. And I think that comes down because of the way the exhaust, because they're water jacketed exhaust, it's a manifold that's water jacketed. There's just nowhere for it to go. So they just built all the torque right away. And you really didn't get much over 2,500 or even 3,000 RPM. And that was it. Could it run 5,500? Maybe. But I've never seen that because they never had headers on them to do that.
Let's see. I'm going to be right back, dude. I got to do something real quick.
Sure.
But I'm going to share my screen here.
Hey, look at him. Look at him. He's still talking shit. The rules are still.
Can you see that?
Here we go. Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yes.
You got to pull it up probably so everybody can see it.
Yep. I'm going to add it to stage, right? Come on. Before. I got to remove this one. And then add to stage. There we go. Can I zoom in? No, maybe I can't. What did I do? Something happened. Get rid of that. Nope. Mr. Right. Dallas, and yeah. It did this to me, and I don't know how to get out of it. Oh, add item.
Oh, down at the bottom, you have your formats that show you.
No, the formats are gone.
Huh.
I hit this dynamic grid. Nope. Well, that was weird. Can you see it? Does it look weird?
No, your whole screen is messed up.
Yeah, the whole screen's messed up. I'm telling you. Here, back up. Cancel. Here we go.
Shane, it's a format thing at the bottom, I'm sure.
There we go. And okay, so now put that screen back up there because I lost it.
Okay, well, I took it down.
Okay. Perfect. Add to stage. There we go. Yeah, this popped up for a minute, but then it just went to some crazy screen.
Crashed, huh?
Yeah. Oh, you know why? Because I tried to zoom in. That's what I did. Is I hit this plus. And it said new layout, not zoom in. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I can't read that. It's too small for me. So.
All right, it's too small for you.
Yeah, because my screen's about this big.
Well, it's virtually the same. Okay, so the introduction is the same as it was last year. I mean, it's virtually the same. There's no reason to even change it. The only thing that we've added, I'll just run through the rule changes that have happened for body, factory OEM, rear-wheel drive car, truck, SUV. That's all the same. Plus or minus 1 inch of original wheelbase, the same. Firewall, the same. Fiberglass or aluminum hood, deck lid, fenders and bumpers are allowed and must represent an OEM look. So that has changed because we added in fenders. We allowed fenders because it is a weight to cubic inch class. We didn't do doors because we don't want a dang pro stock car. Plus, if you only have a 100-pound weight box. So how you're going to make the weight difference if you pull all the fiberglass body, or if you pull the body off and replace it with fiberglass? I don't know how you're going to make weight, and that's really not my problem, but I don't think it's possible.
Plus, it's a safety thing, is what I brought up to Dallas. Is like,
yeah, and that's a good point too. Was the safety, because the cars aren't fast enough to require a full roll cage. So you could potentially have a car that's slow enough. If you put fiberglass doors on it, there's nothing to stop a side impact from hitting the driver. So that was a big one. Okay, it must represent an OEM look. I said that because I didn't want you putting, like, if you look at a Pro Mod does not look anything like the original car. It's somewhat similar, but it's all one big flowing piece, right? And we didn't want that. It has to represent an OEM look. All OEM windows must be installed and present, but can be Lexan for the sake of safety. Okay, so we figured that if you're going to want to lose weight, that's a fairly cheap way to do it. Lexan the windows. Chassis, OEM front and rear, everything is pretty much the same here. We didn't really talk about any changes to this whatsoever. I believe it's exactly written as it was last year. Interior, nothing changed here. Engine, the only thing that's changed is one, I've highlighted the class minimum weight of 2,700 pounds. It doesn't matter if you got a weight break that pushes you down below 2,700, you're still got to weigh 2,700. I don't care. If your cubic inch is too small, I don't care. That's your problem. But it can't be any bigger than 368 cubic inches. The only thing that's changed on here was there was a weight break for the single 4150. And since that's the standard modus operandi, we are no longer going to give it a weight break. All right.
We want to see tunnel rams and multi carbs, so that's why we want to do that. So that way, kind of bring in the tunnel rams. We want to see some of that stuff.
Transmission, the same. Nothing's changed. Tires, the same. Wheelie bars still prohibited. Fuel, gasoline only. Safety equipment, and a minimum each racer is required to meet the safety specs of the respective ET they run. Nothing's changed. Here's the only thing that I added in. A single 100-pound weight box maximum for ballast is allowed. That's it. And then the big change here is the addition of what I called exceptions. It's the orphan cars. Any vehicle left without original parent manufacturer support is designated as an orphan car. Examples, but not limited to, are Oakland, Nash, Hudson, Studebaker, Duesenberg, Kaiser, LaSalle, and Triumph. Orphan cars are allowed to run any brand of manufacturer's engine allowed within the Triple Crown rules, and a gasser-style straight axle front suspension with an added 100-pound weight penalty unless OEM equipped. So if it didn't come with a straight axle and you wish to put one under there because you can't find any springs or shocks or spindles or whatever, and you'd install a straight axle in there, you have a 100-pound weight penalty if it didn't come with one. Now, if it came with one and like say you show up and you got a Jeep, well, a Jeep had a straight axle, so there you go. You don't have a 100-pound weight penalty. But other than that, there's only a few cars, and if you show up with a Ford F1 truck, they came with a straight axle from the factory, a drop straight axle. But most cars won't have that. There is a few, and I didn't want to make it. The big thing was I didn't want to make the orphan cars the gangbusters, blow it out to where they had all the benefit, but they didn't have any penalty, So you got penalty as well as beneficial, right? So,
because like I was telling Dallas, is I didn't want somebody to go out and be hunting for a car to get the benefit of that, hunting for this engine to get the benefit of that. There has to be some sort of penalty if you're hunting for that vehicle. The whole idea of this is so that way anybody can run what they already have. That's the whole idea of this, is to be cheap and inexpensive, heads up racing, not what can I put together of the best of each manufacturer to put one car together to be faster than everybody else.
Right. And so what we did was we made the orphan car weight penalized just because it's the orphan car, right? If you want to run a gasser front end, it's not a problem. You just got to have 100 pounds on it. And the reason why I did that, honestly, like if you think about it, if you went and got a Ford F1 axle and cut it down and put it in your car, it would be kind of a pain in the butt for this 100-pound weight penalty, right? But if you went and bought a CJ Race Cars or Scott Rods chromoly tubular straight axle that is not very expensive at all and showed up and it weighs 27 pounds and your passenger side coil spring weighed that on the old setup, it's a huge win, right? Only having a 100-pound weight penalty. So you can see where it's actually it's needed to make it fair.
Okay. Big announcement, real quick before you go. John Wilburn has a number on the orange paper. He's not going to disclose it here. You have to go see him on John Wilburn on Friday night on 7 Central on his channel, John Wilburn, and he will disclose on the orange paper the final actual countdown for the next 2026 No Name Nationals. So there it is. That's the big news, I'd say, right there.
Okay. Also, the last thing is rear suspension of the orphan cars must remain the original OEM design and use the factory suspension pickup points. Additional components can't to aid in traction are allowed. Think like traction bars, but the rear suspension must maintain original suspension pickup points in the original locations and be used for rear suspension.
Yes.
These cars must meet the plus or minus 1 inch OEM wheelbase mandate for the class. So the only thing they're gaining for the orphan cars is that they can run any engine they want, and then they can run a straight axle front end, so they don't have to pay the penalty of not being able to find anything to put the front suspension together with.
Yeah. Levi is saying something here. He says, these rules are making me excited. Who's going to be the next of the new Smoky Unique of the Triple Crown? Look, man, I have an engine that literally fits all the rules, and it makes 750 horsepower, and it fits everything. That's why I'm not going to compete in it, because I don't want to do that. That's not the point of it. I don't want to compete in it because just don't. But that basically it's whoever can put together the best engine combination for what they have. It's going to eventually get to that point, but I've explained to Dallas what I know, and that was my big thing I was scared of. So people are asking, does that include Studebakers? Didn't you put in there Studebakers? I think you did, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. It says Oakland, Nash, Hudson, Studebaker, Duesenberg, Kaiser, LaSalle, and Triumph.
Yeah, because another person here talked about a Kaiser too. And I was just like, yeah, there's always going to be that, people are going to say numbers, but they're all in there. It's orphans. And also too, I'm not sure if you guys heard him, but he said also to the parent company. That means like an Edsel, right? That's a Ford, right?
Right, but it's not an Edsel is not an orphan car. Just like a Pontiac or a Mercury is not an orphan car because their parent company is still around. Mm-hmm. They just stopped making that brand.
Or like Plymouth. Plymouth is not around, but the parent company is still around. Mopar, right? So yeah, you couldn't get a Barracuda and put a straight axle underneath it.
Right. It would have to be one of the. It's not necessarily limited to these cars right here. These are just ones that their parent manufacturer is literally gone. Right. You can't go out and buy a new replacement 48 Hudson front fender. Right. Like, the stuff for that is really, really hard to come by.
Yeah.
I guess I could have thrown the no fiberglass quarters, panels, or roof. No, it's got to be the steel stuff, and the door got to be steel.
Yeah, and we're doing that for safety reasons. For safety, that's the whole point of this. Unless it's a vet. I mean, obviously a Corvette is going to be
Well, a
its own
Corvette's
thing.
got a crash guard in the door. It's meant for
Exactly.
side impact,
Exactly.
right? $100 Harry Glass door is not meant for side impact. It's meant for your cage to be there
Yeah.
in your Pro Stocker. Okay,
Yeah,
but
so Hudson became AMC, which got bought out by Chrysler, which still exists.
yeah, well, technically Nash was part of that too.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is the car. What I'm getting at is the cars that were before the AMC era, right? Those cars have no support, no parent company to still help them out. They
Yeah.
can't just go get a brand new 2025 Hudson front end and put it
Yeah.
under their 48 Hudson.
Yeah, Danny Boyd, he did say Kaiser and Nash. That is actually literally in the verbiage right there. So
I did not say Frazier, but I said it says examples, but not limited to.
yes, exactly.
Are Oakland, Nash, Hudson, Studebaker, Duesenberg, Kaiser, LaSalle, and Triumph, right? There's more companies out there. I mean, I could have listed them all day long. There's a ton of them. Indiana itself has like 4 of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Kenosha has what? 7?
Yeah.
Kenosha, Wisconsin has 7.
Well, who was Sunbeam? Remember the Sunbeam? Someone was saying here an LS powered Sunbeam. That'd be kind of cool too.
Well, I don't know if Sunbeam Tiger was their car, but they were Ford. They were Ford small block powered.
Yeah, they were. I remember that. So basically, small block Ford is basically an LS, anyways. That's where they stole the engine build from.
Oh, I don't think so. Okay. Danny Boyd says he wants a 302 Cleveland more than he wants a Barra. Dude, just build a Cleaver.
JW was Shane's. Okay, I'll send you some info so we can come and get some heads from him. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Do you happen to have Dizzy's phone number? You don't have to give it to me.
I do not. I do not. You would have to. The No Name Nationals directory is generally John Wilburn.
Mr. Wilburn, can you text me, please, Dizzy's phone number, please? I'd appreciate it. I think I'm not sure if I have it or not. I do not. Yeah, if you could text it to me, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it. So anything else you want to go over on the rules? You think we got everybody up there? Any questions?
I think this is pretty much like this is what everybody's waiting for. It's just like we said, there wasn't many changes to it, just the things that we listed off.
Yeah. And it took us a while to do this because we wanted to make sure that we weren't overstepping bounds. We wanted to make sure that we were keeping it fair. We wanted to keep it fun. The whole idea of this is to have close heads-up racing and make you guys excited about it. And that's the whole idea. James asking, can we post these rules somewhere on Facebook? Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, we have the No Name Nationals page, right? Can we put it on Facebook?
Oh, I have admin rights on there. I can go put it on there right now. Hold on. Give me just a second.
Yeah. So there you go. He's going to go on the No Name Nationals Facebook page and then share away. Have at it. And then I think we're going to send it over to Mr. Wilburn, and then he'll put it up on the score page. So just like the monkey bike rules, those rules will be up there also. Levi's got one. First question about Triple Crown. On the scales, what is the number that matters? Gross weight? Is that the number with will disqualify you if it's off? Here's what it is whatever your cubic inches, whatever you claim the cubic inches to be. If you ever protested, we can pump it. But basically, it's the number we write on the with all your all your deductions, we write it on the windshield, and that's you in the car with your tank of fuel or whatever you want to do, and that's the number. If you're below that number, there is no percentage, there's no nothing. If you're ever a protester for whatever reason, and you're less than that, you're out. That's literally how it is. So don't run it too close, is what we're getting at. And the number that we put on there is what you have to be over. And we write down what you claim to be cubic inch wise and what your weight is. And then we go from there. So we just what your claimed weight is, and then we write down what it actually weighs. So it's really a simple deal.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted. I'm trying to do this.
No, it's so yeah. So now the 351C Pantera was sold through Lincoln Mercury. Well, there you go. That'd be kind of a cool thing. Get a Pantera. That'd be cool.
Well, that Pantera is mid-engine too, so it would be fun to. That thing would probably take a big chunk out of everybody's butt.
That would be one. If I ever had like a supercar, so to speak, it'd be a Pantera. I'm not really sure what I would put for as far as engine in it, but I would definitely try to lighten it up. And but I've always, I did get to tune one time, and it just sounds awesome. Oh, right here. So John Wilburn saying the SSR, the Triple Crown rules will be posted at NoNameNationals.com very soon. When the registration opens and the tickets go up for sale, the Triple Crown rules will be posted all together. Well, there you go. Oh, is there going to be a protest fee to call out another car driver? I mean, I hadn't even thought about that. I mean, we could, but
well, they normally do that in the rule books. And since we were just running this one class with this one race, we didn't really do anything with it. Fab Race Mon Repeat says LaSalle is a Cadillac. It is a Cadillac after it was purchased by Cadillac, but before that, Cadillac doesn't support any parts for them. So it was just, I just went through the list and I started grabbing names and sticking them in there. All right, guys, like, don't beat me up here. All right, This is not that hard.
And Levi's asking, do you guys care about corner weights? We don't give a shit about corner weights. It's about the total weight. We'll tell you what the car weighs in corners, but we're just looking at total weight with you in it. The only thing we care about as far as weights is the one ballast box that you have and how much weight is in that one ballast box. It can be no more than 100 pounds. That's all we care about.
Tim Smith saying, can I run dual quads on the Avante? It was factory setup. Yes, you can.
Absolutely. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Fab Race Mod Repeat will put $100 on the pot for Monkey Bike once again.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm thinking Monkey Bike might be something I'm going to do this year. I don't know. Well, this 2026. That'd be fun. They did bracket last year, right? Or did they do the heads up racing on that?
I think they did both.
Okay.
No, I think it was all heads up.
Yeah. Can you run? Oh, here we go. Dizzy is. Can you run a Mopar 5.7 in Triple Crown? Yes, absolutely. Because it is a Mopar engine, so just like you could run an LS in a GM. So yes, you can.
I'm telling you, Dizzy. Look, I'll give everybody Shane and I came up with the perfect recipe for this class. Okay, the perfect recipe. If you're looking at using a 5.7 Hemi, get your 5.7 Hemi from 2009 and later. Get a XJ Jeep from like 1984 to 2002. They made it.
It's a unibody. Yeah.
Put the two-wheel drive straight axle in the front, because if it's a four-wheel drive, you can just convert it to two-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Put an 8.8 in the rear end. Build an 8.8, put it in the back of that Jeep. There's all the off-road guys have like zillions kits to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, you can put an 833 behind that sucker, or even an aftermarket 4-speed, or you could put an 8 HP behind it.
Or 904.
Yeah, it will absolutely murder that class. Nobody will have a chance.
Yeah, light, and it's tons of power. I mean, just RPM to the moon, and you would have less than probably $7,000 into everything. Less than that.
Buick Smith saying, does the ballast box need to be a certain distance from the rear axle? No, because it's only 100 pounds. So you can literally put it wherever you want as long as it's not on the driver.
Yeah. Dizzy saying, believe it needs to run a distributor though. No, it doesn't. But you have to add 100 pounds of a distributorless. So if you're running, like say, an LS that's just, that has no distributor, or a Gen 3 Hemi, it doesn't have a distributor, you have to add 100 pounds. But they do make distributor conversion kits for the Gen 3 Hemi and the LS, and therefore then you wouldn't get the weight penalty.
Or you could spend a little cash, call Alki Digger in Nashville, and I know they have a timing cover for an LS that has a distributor in it.
Yeah.
And there may be some other company that makes them now. I don't know.
And John Wilburn says, I can see all these classes already getting more competitive for 2026. I agree. 100%. I think 2025 is kind of like a mulligan, and people kind of, still. I think 2026 is going to be the year. I'm expecting really fast Triple Crown cars, a lot more car count, and I'm expecting really fast monkey bikes also too. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, see, okay, Clayton's Toolbox is saying a Grand Cherokee that came with a 5.7 Hemi and remove weight. No, you guys are missing the point here. You're missing the biggest point, and that's that XJ Jeep is virtually an envelope. It is literally a drivable Amazon package. Okay,
it's a box.
It is square. It is the simplest and lightest thing you're going to possibly find, and you got all the best parts. Yep. Straight axle, disc brakes, heavy duty rear end. It fits a T5. It fits a Mopar 4-speed. It's got just because it was from 84 all the way to like 2002. It's got hydraulic clutch options. It's got mechanical clutch options. It's got an engine bay that will swallow a straight six, meaning it'll eat any V8 all day long, right? I mean, it is the perfect platform.
Yeah.
And Dizzy said Durango strip. No, and you guys are missing it, man.
Yeah. Too heavy. And I'm telling you, with those Jeeps, my friend had a Jeep with a straight 6 in it, and we off-roaded that thing all the time because it was light as hell. And it was the 2-door version, not the 4-door. So it was like, I think they call it the sport version. And I was thinking, that's what you need, is just a 2-door version of that, a 2-wheel drive. And they're actually, I looked up Marketplace. You can get them for like $1,500, $1,600.
Right. And here's the thing that I thought was super neat about it is all the windows are straight. So you can literally cut Lexan windows in your garage with a jigsaw and drop them in.
And put them right in there. Yeah. So, I mean, if I had room for another vehicle, that's exactly what I would do. Is I would get one of those things, and I would race the crap out of it. And there's a ton of room underneath there for any transmission. And the 8.8, you don't even have to cut or do anything because a Ford Explorer is literally the same width. So you just get an axle and you can put it right in there. You don't have to do any cutting to it. It's perfectly.
It's like the simplest, easiest thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
SSR Performance saying, if we get 16 cars for Triple Crown, are we going to qualify? If that's what you guys want to do, sure, that would be great. It's just, let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to jeopardize this thing at all. But we did have 9 cars. I'm assuming we're going to have 9 cars again this year, if not more than 9 cars. I know Dylan Levi's building one. I know I'm building one. Let's see.
James are coming again, right? James and
what's that?
SSR's coming again with both their cars.
Yep. They'll probably have more than 2 cars this time.
And Jamie's talking about coming again. He really enjoyed that, so he's going to come back out.
So Rabbit Transit Garage says that he got a 2-wheel drive XJ front axle from the junkyard for $120 to convert from 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, exactly.
$120.
Exactly. It's nothing, because I've believe me, I was looking this stuff up when we were writing these rules. I was looking this up and I was telling Dallas, dude, this is going to be an awesome. It's a whole idea. This is cheap. And also to Big Block 402 saying that the number 2 Barracuda will be back again too. So there you go.
Yeah, and John Wilburn said, in the 3-pedal party, this year's No Name Nationals, calling all manual transmissions. Racer Ray says, Dallas, do you know where the times were for the Triple Crown 25?
I think 720 was the fastest, wasn't it?
718 was the fastest number from SSR. Yeah. And I think that's the pass when their Power Glide gave up.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, is that I don't. I was actually just thinking about this whole time. I don't want to have a qualifying. If we had, like, say, even if we had like 48 cars, it's going to get whittled down by one race in half. Then it gets in half again. So I would say just whoever shows up, we're running you, man. We're not.
I
Going
like the idea of qualifying on Friday. I do like the idea of having like two qualifying rounds on Friday and two on Saturday, and then if you don't make it, you don't make it. But
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think if someone built the car,
I don't want to send anybody packing. You know,
I'm telling you, I go look at it this way, man. If you built a car, I say you're racing in the event, no matter what. Will make it work.
You know what? I tell you what. I think we should just chip draw it, just like we did last year. That worked out great.
Yep.
There wasn't any problems with that. And when we had 10 cars or 12 cars for 28, 10, 5, we chip drawed and it worked out fine.
Yeah, just exactly. That's how I say no qualifying. Just get up there. You built a car. You're going to race. We're going to draw chips, and then it'll be the big event, and we'll just have them run down the track, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be an event.
So Mean Street Mopar is saying I'm putting together a spicy 318 with a 4-speed for my D100 so I can participate in Triple Crown and the 3-pedal party.
Where is this? What number is this? Because I can't find
845.
Okay.
SSR Performance says my dad is building a car. Big Block 402. Steven is trying to get more people interested.
Oh, bitching.
Yeah, and so in a racer base saying Triple Crown buyback. I doubt there will be a buyback. That's a very bracket racy thing. Generally, it's a one and done if you are the slower car. But what I would do, Ray, to tell you the truth, is I would set up a Triple Crown match race with somebody. Yes. Another car from your class. Call them out ahead of time. So if you guys both go out after Triple Crown's over with, pull up there and do a best of 3 match race.
Yep.
That's what I would do.
I think that's what I'm going to do because I'm probably going to be bringing Plan Z this year. And I'm just going to do match races the whole time. I'm going to do 2 out of 3 match races,
So, all right. SSR Performance saying my dad's building a car, Big Block 402 Steven is, and trying to get more people interested. And we had talked about doing a couple more Triple Crown races. Shane and I have actually already talked about that. We had a track in mind, which was Holly Springs, because Shane has a good in with them. Now, Holly Springs is an NHRA track. They will not let me run the AHRA banner event there. They won't. They will not. I promise.
But they'll allow Triple Crown to run there, though. They will, because we sponsor my company sponsors their track, so we can run there. I'm not worried about that at all.
Clayton's Toolbox is saying if you were to put an economical manual transmission behind a 5.7 Hemi, what would you choose? Donors.
Top loader.
5.7 Hemi. You think top loader?
I would run the top loader, man. That's a great. I'm telling you, I've run all the manual transmissions. I've run 833s. Top loader works the best. It's the strongest.
Man, I'm telling you, every manufacturer came with a T10 at one time. I would do a T10.
Yeah, you could do that. That's economical. Yeah, you could do a T10. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could even you can even do a T5.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that the T5 would actually be the ideal one, but it is going to hack its guts first pass with a 5.7 Hemi and some slicks. It won't handle it.
Yeah,
it's not meant for that kind of power.
If it's just a 450 horse, under 500 horse Hemi, I'm pretty sure it'll do just fine for at least a race.
It may. T5 would be the ideal one because it's the most. It's the least parasitic loss.
Exactly. Yep.
The T10, because it came in almost every manufacturer's cars, there's parts where you can put a T10. See, Shane's idea of top loader is the best. That's what everybody went to in Pro Stock before the Lenco.
They work awesome. Yeah.
The problem is a top loader behind a Dodge small block is going to be a lot of custom pieces to make that work.
It's not. It literally goes right in. They have a bell housing for it. It's a QuickTime bell housing. I have one. And then you run your a regular flex plate flywheel, and then you run whatever. I think they're 23 tooth, isn't that what it is, or 10 tooth, or I forget.
I have no idea.
But then you just run the clutch for the Ford, and then the flex plate just bolts right onto that. So literally, it's just an adapter, and then the bushing, because the Ford has got the same length as the Chrysler.
Oh,
And
does
then
it really?
yeah, it's got, and you run it in there. GM's different, but the Ford is literally the same, and then you just run the same input shaft, and it's good to go as far as the
Oh,
bushing.
oh,
It's
okay.
really a bolted deal.
So yeah, try either one of those. Try any of those.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to run Triple Crown because I have a TKX transmission over here that is literally designed exactly for what we're going to be doing. 600 horsepower,
John,
600 foot-pounds of torque.
John's saying Friday qualifying is great. Why not have a no bump field and all run on Saturday, but qualifying determines the pairings?
I like the drawing, man. Well, we could try. Let's see how many cars show up, and that's something we can talk about.
Well,
But
we can do that at the race and let everybody decide.
yeah,
Just like we
exactly.
do when we ask them about, hey, does this guy, he's got, coil springs on a freaking leaf spring car. Are you going to let him run? And that's the same kind of thing we did with Jamie, right? Remember Jamie showed up with a 273 that was technically too small for the class.
Yep.
And everybody wanted him to run anyway.
Yeah. If we did that though, what we would have to do is that way I don't want to see people like, say someone qualifies number one, they're going to like, well, I'm not going to qualify here, so that way we don't run each other. What we would do is have everyone qualify, and then we would draw a chip to see how we invert the field, or do we flip it, or is it one
ladder
races two? Yeah. How are we going to do the ladder?
So Andy's saying a second chance race for first round loser. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea, where you take all the first round losers and they battle it out, and then you just take one out of there and put them back into the second round. What do you think?
Yeah, no, we were talking about that like a double elimination type thing, or a buyback round,
yeah.
We might as well run. Sorry, if they do buybacks, we might as well run junior dragsters. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about buybacks. I'm just being real. I mean, I think that in a heads-up race, I think you should just run it and run it. I like the qualifying thing, but I really do like how I would still like the chip draw, because that works. That basically takes all the guesswork. You can qualify just to see where people are running. Maybe the fields are so widely. If we get a lot of cars and there's like people in the sevens and there's people in the eights and there's this huge disparity, we'll run them in two groups. So that's the only way it could see it.
Okay. One, I don't really like these kind of questions because it puts you on the spot to make a decision that you don't know really what's going to happen that day. It's better to kind of just leave it open for that day and bring your ideas along, and we can come up with something that's going to work for the best for most everyone, right?
It all comes down to car count. How many cars?
That's exactly what's going to dictate the whole thing, right? SSR Performance says if buybacks come to Triple Crown, I'm out. He starts laughing, and I agree. There shouldn't be such thing as a buyback, but I do like the first round losers fighting it out amongst each other and one car coming back in second round. I think that's actually a cool idea. And what we can do is the car that comes in second round can't be the buy, right? And that's, I think, the way it should work. And then Danny Boyd saying, hell yes to match racing. And he says, heads up match racing. That is what the idea of the Triple Crown was about, was not necessarily running the heads up class, but now you have class cars and you can go pick someone, they're in your class. So they had the same restrictions that you do, and you could bust their balls and do a best of three heads up match race. And it's going to be whatever tree you guys want to run.
Oh, John,
whatever you dictate.
Yeah. John says you could do a chip draw to determine field inversion or whatever. Yeah. At the end of the day. Exactly. That's kind of what, like I said, let's see how many cars show up. We didn't expect to have 9 or 8 cars, whatever we had the first year. We'll just see what shows up. People are going to break, but we'll make it so that way it's fun for everyone, and we'll make sure that it's there. And I agree with this. Heads up is heads up, 100%. That's the whole point.
See, Fab Race Mon repeats saying the same thing that I said. The Hemi's going to rip second gear right out of that T5. I'm sure
it will. 100%. It would probably work for the weekend, but that's about it. But they're easy to fix.
Ford and making 285, 300 foot-pounds of torque would give those things a hard time.
You're right. I do agree with you, but it would work for the weekend. I mean, I've got a T5 right here. I mean, I've got a T5 also.
Well, here's the reality, though. The T5 has the least amount of parasitic loss and weighs the light. It's the lightest transmission you can get, right? So there
Exactly.
is an upside to the thing. If you could get the car light enough with enough gear in the rear end, I think you could get the T5 to hang in there a weekend easy. Sure. I think you might be able to pull a season out of it if the vehicle didn't weigh a lot. Let's say it was sub
2,700 pounds.
It was sub 3,000 pounds,
Mhm.
and it had like a 488 gear in it.
You'd be fine.
You could do it.
Yeah. I agree with you. That's why he said, what's the economical? There is way more downsides to a T5. I agree, but it does exist. And if someone's trying to do this on a budget, and say they had a car like Jamie that was barely 3,000 pounds, right? Or under, and I'm with Dallas on this. You had any type of small 302 Ford or even a 289 or 273 Chrysler, it'll work.
It will work. Something that's fairly light with a lot of rear gear.
Mm-hmm.
The transmission's gonna hold up at least for that weekend. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Dizzy saying that he wants to call out Cope for 2 out of 3 race. There you go.
Sounds like fun right there.
Man, can you believe it, man? We've only got 5 minutes left.
I know. We've been blowing through it with it, especially since we put these rules up. So Vintage Adventure Drive says, I like the street racing feel that Triple Crown had this year. You know what I really think would be cool? I think what would be really cool is if all the Triple Crown racers, race car, not race car, whatever, drove to Lambert's and we had a freaking section set up that was Triple Crown heads up
Exactly.
at Lambert's. I think that would be cool if we had a banner.
I would love that because that would be, like I was saying before, I think they should be like driven on the street because that would kind of really show that this is not only just a race car, but this is a street car. The whole point of this is to make them kind of a dual role. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Ray saying best of 3 round robin runs. We could do a double eliminator, Triple Crown, and that would essentially be just like the best 2 out of 3 match race. Because once you're eliminated, it takes 2. You got to get beat twice to go home.
Andrew's saying something here. It says 2 qualifyings on Friday, standard elimination tree. Top 8 qualifiers can buy back if they lose in round. I mean, once again, we'll just see how many cars show up. He says Sean is saying that he wish he could do Triple Crown, but no engine swaps, right?
No, you can use an engine from your manufacturer. And that Datsun is a Nissan, right? Can't you run that VK? Oh, no, it's modular. It's a dual overhead cam modular deal. Yeah, sorry. You can't run it not in that Datsun.
I'm with John on this. I think I'm getting excited for 2025 already, 2026. I mean, because every facet is going to be larger. I agree with that, John, 100%. So, man, we've only got a few minutes left. Anything you want to plug? I do want to say something.
Andrew Nelson's throwing some of his wisdom out there, saying 2 qualifiers on Friday, standard elimination tree, top 8 qualifiers can buy back if they lose.
I just said that. I just read that one.
Oh, did you read that one?
Yes, I did. Yeah. That's what I was saying. I think that's I was just reading that. But anyways, I do have something. So next Wednesday, I'm not going to be able to do this because I'm going to be at PRI. So there will be no Tech Talk on Wednesday, next Wednesday. So just a heads up on that. I don't have any videos coming out. I just haven't.
Okay. I don't have any real videos coming out. I have, I think, 4 videos in the queue. Okay. And I have not ever released any of them. And a lot of it's just, I've been focusing on life stuff. This Friday, I'm leaving to go meet up with the famous Unity Motorsports Garage head honcho himself, Andy Wood. And we're going to dyno the Easy 302 and wring out every horsepower that we can out of the thing. And we're going to try different intake manifolds, carburetors, rocker arms, every trick in the bag. And then I'm going to sell it, and I'm giving everybody dibs here first. It's going to be $10 a horsepower. So whatever it makes is what it's going to sell for, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think there's going to be any magic in it, but everybody here has, first dibs on it. And if you are a Chevy person, hint Dylan Levi, you could run this in your Triple Crown because it's 310 cubic inches. It makes all the horsepower that little S10 can handle.
How about this too? I'm going to throw this out there since we're getting so much. If anybody buys all the parts for it, and they want me to put together an engine for them, but they're buying all the parts, doing all the machine work. If you want me to do some oil modifications, I can. But I'll build your engine. How about that? I'll build your engine for someone. I'll do one, so that way I'll build it up. And then that way we can talk about camshafts, but you're going to be responsible for all the parts. I'm not putting any money into it.
Dude, at the beginning when you told me you had another 318 motor that's coming?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you should put that together and raffle it for Triple Crown.
I mean, I would rather do the 360 here because most cars are going to be in the 32 to 3,300 pound range.
Oh, well, do that then. But I mean, you could raffle it off for, just like all the other YouTubers do. Every person that buys a ticket or T-shirt or whatever gets a registration for the raffle on this 360 Triple Crown build.
Yeah, that'd be
just
cool.
recipe engines, man.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Disney's saying raffle it off at No Name Nationals for $100 a ticket.
Yeah. Well, Vintage Adventure Drive says he says heavy enough for 360. Absolutely, because that's exactly what I was thinking about. But any guys with that, man, we're right at 2 hours. And this went by fast. So we will not be here, like I just said earlier, and I'm going to make sure that I'm reading this date correctly. But we will be back on the 17th. And then I will do a live on Christmas Eve, and I will do a live on the 31st because I don't drink, so I'll be here. I've got nothing going on.
Mean Street Mopar wants you to do the oiling mods on his 318. That's going to cost you. That's a lot of hours, dude.
That's a lot of hours. But here's the thing: if I build the engine for you, you buy all the parts for it and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, if it's a solid flat tap it, I could do that, and then we'll see if we can get it. We'll see if we can get it going.
John Wilburn saying a raffle has strict gaming regulations. It would not be legal in Virginia. A sweepstakes would be. Okay, well there you go. Sweepstakes.
Sweepstakes. There we go. Yeah, we call it a waffle. How about that? Is that the thing now? Waffles.
Waffle, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. So we're out.
We're out. See you guys on this in 2 weeks from today. But after that, you guys, awesome. Have a great 2 weeks. All right, take it easy, guys.